They were called the Vanguard Expeditionary Force, 6 explorers carefully selected from Earth's premier scientific and military institutions. Their mission was to investigate the remote star cluster designated as Epsilon Auriga, specifically a recently detected anomaly that gave off faint gravitational ripples, unlike anything recorded in human history. With funds and resources from every major Earth nation, this mission had the political, scientific, and strategic weight of humanity's future resting upon it. Each team member possessed unparalleled expertise, shaped by countless trials and uncharted regions of space, yet none of them expected what they would find orbiting the pale turquoise star at the edge of the cluster. An impossible artifact, an object that shimmered like liquid metal and defied all conventional understanding of physics. From the moment their vassal, the ISS Aurora, dropped out of FTL just inside the system's boundary, the anomaly drew them in as if it had a gravitational mind of its own. Captain Rhea Hawthorne, a decorated officer with a famously calm demeanor, felt the tug of curiosity. Dr. Amari Chen, astrophysicist and mathematician, measured a subtle energy shift that matched no known pattern. Lieutenant Cassian Mendes, an engineer with keen intuition, double-checked the readings a dozen times. The symmetrical pulses of the anomaly's signal resonated in every sensor on the ship. Ariana Quinn, the team's xenolinguist, found something resembling a pattern within the electromagnetic wave emissions. Dr. Ethan Cole, a medical officer well-versed in alien biology, quietly wondered if any presence lived near such a cosmic oddity. At the helm, pilot Janae Park prepared for maneuvers, knowing they would likely need spirit and skill to dock with whatever this shimmering presence might be. As they approached the object, the Aurora's monitors exploded with contradictory data. The object's surface was stable, yet seemed to warp under direct observation. One moment the scanners indicated it was over 1 kilometer in diameter, the next it appeared no larger than a human head. The phenomenon defied Euclidean metrics, existing in multiple reference frames simultaneously. The crew's attempts to measure mass or density all failed, leading to tension on the ship. Suspicion mounted that it could be a threat. That suspicion soon gave way to awe when the anomaly somehow extracted the Aurora's docking sequence, as if reading the crew's minds, and generated a force corridor for them to approach. A landing bay, if it could be called that, appeared out of thin air. As they drew near, metallic arms stretched outward, forming a swirling platform whose geometry changed with every blink. As Captain Hawthorne carefully maneuvered the ship inside, the hull vibrated in a steady pulse reminiscent of a heartbeat. Astonishingly, once the Aurora settled, the platform stabilized into a single rigid shape, and the shimmering walls around them flickered into a soothing silver sheen. The entire scene felt like stepping into a dreamscape conjured by an alien intelligence. When the main hatch opened, a corridor extended from the floor, persuading them forward. Despite their training, the crew found themselves momentarily hesitant. Ultimately, curiosity prevailed over fear. Outfitted in dual-layer environmental suits, Captain Hawthorne, Dr. Chin, Lieutenant Mendez, and Ariana Quinn set foot onto the corridor. The passage illuminated with faint glowing lines that pulsed ahead of them, leading them deeper into the structure. Metal walls, if indeed they were factual metal, were carved with symbols that seemed to morph from one shape to another. Ariana snapped photos and attempted real-time translation, but the script refused to align with any known linguistic patterns. Mendez, for his part, scanned the corridors, noticing that each panel had some sort of resonance, as if the entire facility was alive. After systematic exploration, the team emerged into a vast chamber, dominated by a towering structure shaped like an inverted pyramid, suspended in midair by luminous columns of shifting light. Skyline patterns lined the walls, reminding them of ancient Earth civilizations that built monumental pyramids. But here, gravity had been made to submit to an entirely different set of physics. Wheeling gleaned sensor data. Dr. Chen hypothesized that the swirling energy kept the pyramid afloat like an anti-gravity cradle. Standing at the center of the chamber, the explorers felt the magnitude of an intelligence now long absent or perhaps lying in wait. On approach, Ariana sensed an odd presence in the air, as if intangible whispers surrounded them. Her translators flickered uselessly, picking up ephemeral impulses. Memories not her own flashed in her mind. She saw visions of cosmic conflicts spanning centuries, battles over technology so advanced it transcended matter. Shaken, she looked around, but her companions only reported static and headaches. Although no formal communication was taking place, it was clear the artifact, or perhaps something within it, was attempting contact, like an echo from an ancient consciousness that refused to fade. Suddenly, the pyramid's surface rippled and parted, revealing an entrance like a black maw. Without exchanging more than a few nods of agreement, the team moved inside, driven by a blend of fascination and dread. Within, they found a circular chamber, bathed in a faint cyan glow. In the center hovered a sphere about the size of a human head, radiating a gentle warmth that permeated their suits. It looked crafted from the same shimmering substance as the outer walls, yet seemed infinitely denser, more profound. For a moment, the sphere pulsed, creating an illusion of heartbeat-like throbs in everyone's ears. Then something extraordinary happened, a direct infusion of knowledge. Through a phenomenon impossible to articulate, each member of the group received a torrent of images, mathematical formulas, and historical vignettes. They saw a vast interstellar society, eons old, a coalition of species once devoted to ensuring peace across galaxies. They glimpsed the forging of this dreaded device, known as the Corpus Ultimus. Created as a final safeguard, with merely a thought, it could neutralize weapons across star systems, disrupt the violent impulses within living brains, and sterilize the idea of aggression from an entire civilization. It was, unquestionably, strong enough to end every war. But it came at an unfathomable cost. Whoever employed the weapon effectively eradicated the free will of every sentient being it touched. When the data ridge finally ceased, the team staggered back, trying to make sense of the mental Captain Hawthorne, usually so poised, found herself trembling at the immensity of what they had uncovered. Dr. Chen still clutched her head, struggling to sort complicated equations that had lodged themselves in her consciousness. Ariana Quinn quietly sobbed as her mind replayed the sorrowful conclusion of that ancient society. Once they wielded this ultimate weapon to quell a dreadful interstellar conflict, they recognized too late the steep price. Entire worlds lost their autonomy, left docile and directionless. The empire that had once championed this item believed they were upholding galactic peace, but instead had undone the essence of life's free will. Lieutenant Mendez was the first to speak in quivering disbelief. "We can't allow this out into the cosmos," he whispered. "If this ever fell into the wrong hands..." His voice broke off as the horrifying possibilities played out in his mind. They all realized that countless political factions on Earth, not to mention other advanced species in the known galaxy, would clamor to unleash such a device. In a world plagued by warfare, it would be hailed as a salvation, a means to unify humanity by obliterating hostility. But in so doing, it would manipulate the neurological blueprint that made each individual a free agent, robbing entire populations of choice. Returning to the Aurora, with the sphere in tow, felt like sacrilege. Ariana had initially argued that they should leave it behind, bury it in the cosmic labyrinth from which it came. But Dr. Chen insisted they had to study it further, to fully understand its design and calibrate a proper containment or destruction method. On the flight back to Earth, tension seized the atmosphere. Over the communications channel, they received repeated queries from Earth's leadership about their progress, but the team maintained strict secrecy, revealing only that they had found advanced technology of unknown origin. Captain Hawthorne, in her daily logs, admitted her fears that, no matter how carefully they tried to guard this secret, knowledge of the device would leak eventually. During the journey, the sphere remained inert, as if it had retreated into passive slumber. Yet each day, Ariana insisted she heard faint, melancholy echoes. She described them as the regrets of a vanished civilization. Dr. Cole kept a medical watch on everyone, especially Ariana, who showed signs of moderate neurolinguistic stress. Each time she dreamed, she witnessed glimpses of a possible future where Earth used the sphere to end all conflict, only to see entire cities brimming with people whose faces were blank, whose eyes had lost all spark of independent thought. Humankind, freed from savagery, but also stripped of creativity, curiosity, and personal desire. When they arrived home, the Earth Council convened a secret assembly. Dozens of top-ranking officials from major nations and private industry attended. The Vanguard crew presented their findings in strict confidentiality, cautioning that this was no ordinary superweapon. The demonstration was no ordinary superweapon. A single test on a captured drone fighter forcibly dismantled the machine's weapons system from the inside out. Observers watched, enthralled by the subtle pulse from the sphere that dissolved the machine's circuit boards without an explosion. It displayed the horrifying capacity for precise, surgical disarmament. Earth's leadership quickly descended into debate. Some argued the device should be utilized immediately to end unrest, unify humanity, and deter any threat from extraterrestrial forces. Others balked, recalling fiascos in human history when well-intentioned technology paved the road to tyranny. The scientific community also weighed in, championing further research. Yet the moral cost loomed large. The potential to rewrite or suppress primal instincts, to drain aggression from entire species, was not a mere technological leap. It was a fundamental rewriting of conscious existence. Suddenly, ancient philosophical questions reshaped into urgent policy decisions. What price is humanity truly willing to pay for peace? Even within the Vanguard, rifts emerged. Lieutenant Mendez, witnessing Earth's fractious politics, leaned toward safeguarding the device so no irresponsible leader would seize it. Dr. Chen believed in the pursuit of knowledge, and that a controlled approach might decode ways to neutralize the device altogether. Ariana, shaken by her nightmares, argued adamantly for its destruction. She felt the sphere's ancient creators had left behind a lesson in humility. Some powers, once unleashed, could never be undone. Captain Hawthorne, burdened by the final responsibility of choosing a course of action, listened intently as her team struggled to reconcile fear with hope, tradition with progress. Days melted into weeks, with clandestine meetings around the globe. The rumor mill churned. Whispers of a weapon that could forever eradicate war circulated among intelligence agencies and private war tech conglomerates. Under unrivaled pressure, the Earth Council decided on a compromise. Earth's top scientific minds, guided by the Vanguard team, would investigate potential safe usage or a way to dismantle it. Meanwhile, a rotating security force would guard the device at a classified subterranean facility. The Council stressed that no test on sentient beings would be permitted without unanimous agreement. Yet behind their well-meaning facade, factions on the Council were already busy drafting scenarios to deploy the device. Fault lines grew visible when a radical splinter group from the Council orchestrated a covert experiment, believing that the official oversight was too slow. Utilizing stolen data from the Vanguard's archives, they constructed a simplified prototype aiming to harness a fraction of the Corpus Ultimus's powers. That night, half the subterranean facility staff found themselves inexplicably docile, experiences replaced by calm compliance that turned to silent horror when they regained their full faculties. The uproar that followed sent shockwaves through Earth's leadership, proving just how easily this power could be twisted. Captain Hawthorne demanded immediate destruction of the device to prevent further catastrophes. But by then, it was clear the knowledge itself was the actual threat. Even if they disposed of the sphere, the data lived in multiple unauthorized copies. A new consensus emerged among the Vanguard, despite their personal differences. The only way to truly protect humanity from this temptation was to ensure the device would be escorted beyond the frontier farther than any known faction could reach, and locked away in the cosmic void. Dr. Chen proposed a theoretical means. Employing a wormhole generator technology, they could send the device to an uncharted expanse of intergalactic space, effectively exiling it. However, it would require a carefully choreographed plan and a specialized team willing to embark on what might be a one-way mission. If done right, the knowledge itself could be sealed, transmitted to no one, existing only in the hearts of those who vowed never to share it. Pressured by the fiasco and the threat of more secret attempts, the Earth Council finally conceded. The Aurora was retrofitted with a wormhole generator, the largest ever constructed by humankind. The entire Vanguard team volunteered for the mission, vowing to protect the future of free will. They would transport the Corpus Ultimus into a region of space with no known star lanes, no charted planets, and no feasible chance of free land salvage. Their instructions were simple but terrifying. Open the wormhole, send the device through, follow it, and remain to guard it. Communication lines would be severed to prevent any unscrupulous leader from persuading them to reactivate the device. They understood the cost: indefinite exile from their home planet, possibly for the rest of their lives. On departure day, a hush fell over the hidden launch site. Scientists, ambassadors, and generals stood in solemn silence as the Vanguard boarded their vessel. Ariana carried the sphere in a containment case lined with wave-dampening fields. She felt the pulsing regret of the ancient creators more intensely than ever, as though they were pleading for the cycle not to repeat. Beside her, Dr. Cole and Dr. Chen double-checked life support systems for an extended mission. Mendez performed a final inspection of the wormhole generator's intricate calibrations, ensuring no sabotage had compromised the system. Captain Hawthorne gave a final salute to the Earth Council, her face betraying no fear, only resolution. The Aurora ascended into the sky, crossing the threshold of Earth's protective atmosphere, skirting its moon, and entering the silent vastness beyond. Inside the cockpit, Captain Hawthorne guided the ship to the coordinates where the wormhole anchor was set to deploy. At her command, the device spool rotated, unleashing arcs of exotic particles that would pierce space-time. The plan was to fling the device, closely followed by the Aurora, into a domain beyond any known territory. A swirl of shimmering energy formed ahead, crackling with cosmic potential. Dr. Chen triggered the final sequence, and in a burst of light beyond compare, the gate opened. The uncharted region they entered resembled a cosmic graveyard. Starless blackness stretched in every direction. Debris from unnamed asteroid fields drifted aimlessly, faintly illuminated by distant quasars. Once the crew oriented themselves, Ariana carefully carried the Corpus Ultimus to a smaller craft that would be jettisoned deeper into the region. They repeated the procedure: open a second, smaller wormhole to an even more remote space. The device, in its containment unit, drifted through that shimmering portal. With a loud hum, the rift sealed shut, trapping the object behind the veil of unmeasured galaxies. The Vanguard stared silently, knowing they had sentenced themselves to the same cold frontier, to ensure no one would ever retrieve the device. That night, in the lonely stillness of the Aurora's command bay, the team gathered for a final meal. They reminisced about Earth, telling stories of the lands they came from: lush valleys, bustling cities, quiet coastal towns lit by fading sunsets. In hushed voices, they realized that in sacrificing their personal freedoms, they might have spared the entire galaxy from losing much more. They spoke softly about what it means to have free will, to decide both petty squabbles and grand moral choices, without being governed by an all-consuming peace that devours the soul. Days stretched into weeks, and then into months. Generators hummed as they established a safe perimeter in the starless domain. The only transmissions between them and Earth were short, coded signals confirming life support, with zero mention of the device. By mutual agreement, after a predetermined time, even these transmissions ceased, leaving the team to a new existence among a sea of hidden cosmic phenomena. Out here, the crew learned to appreciate the raw beauty of the universe's silent spaces. With the knowledge still lingering in their minds, they invested their energies into research on sustainable living, advanced propulsion, and the unexplored edges of quantum physics. Eventually, the shockingly empty vistas of this domain became their home. Dr. Chen constructed specialized telescopes to map uncharted gravitational anomalies. Mendez found deep satisfaction in engineering new life support modules. Dr. Cole established an ambitious xenobiology wing, albeit with no direct life forms to study, focusing on theoretical models gleaned from cosmic dust reactions. Ariana, freed from the echoes of the devise, felt the mental burden lift and returned to her love of interstellar languages, even inventing hypothetical alphabets for undiscovered species. Under Captain Hawthorne's unwavering leadership, the entire team found a sense of purpose in safeguarding life's most sacred gift, the ability to choose, even if those choices can lead to conflict. Each member carried the burden of memory. They recalled the instant the device's knowledge poured into them, revealing both promise and horror. Over time, it felt less like a curse and more like a reminder of the delicate moral threads that hold societies together. They recognized that war, as abhorrent as it is, arises from free creatures grappling with survival, ambition, and fear. While all life yearns for peace, the forced imposition of docility is a fate far more terrifying. If every conflict were wiped away by external compulsion, so too would be the striving that produces empathy, growth, and profound self-understanding. In their solitude, they found a certain reverence for the cosmos. Humanity, for all its failings, had proven that it could resist the temptation to dominate existence for the sake of hollow tranquility. By choosing exile, the vanguard had demonstrated that the human spirit is capable of sacrifice, of moral clarity, and of genuine hope. In the quiet intervals, they dreamed not of a paralyzed world, but of a living, evolving galaxy where beings strive for harmony through shared understanding rather than forced compliance. And so, they drifted in watchful vigil, guardians of a terrible secret buried in the endless dark. Their instrumentation scanned for any sign of intrusion, any potential threat that might set the galaxy in pursuit of that hidden power. Through fleeting cosmic storms and swirling dust clouds, they patiently carried on, ensuring that the device and its monumental capacity to end all wars at the cost of freedom remained lost to any who might be tempted by the promise of absolute peace. Each passing cycle of starlight reaffirmed their pledge, echoing the truth that the greatest weapon in the universe is neither conquest nor submission, but the will to preserve choice in all its fragile, chaotic wonder.